What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our PGA DFS Sleeper Show for the 2021 Wells Fargo. Before we get into our sleepers, Craig, let's take a quick peek back at Valspar, which is not friendly to us. Only one of our 6 sleepers made the cut, and that was Patton Kizzire, and he did not do much with it. It was kind of, we talked about it on our Discord and our showdown shows, but it was kind of a bloody Friday.
Yeah, it was bad, definitely a bad week. And I think on the back of bad sleepers, you don't get a lot of 6s through, then you have a bad week, tournament long. Fortunately, I had a good showdown day one of the days, so it made up for a little bit of it. But I think we had a good sleeper shout out in the comments last week.
Yeah, David, and I hope I get the last name right, Matusek. David Matusek called Camilo Villegas. Great sleeper. I think he was T11, super cheap on DraftKings. So that was a great sleeper call by him. Camilo at Valspar. Yeah, we're kind of hot to start the year. Zurich didn't do us well. Valspar didn't do us well, but now we're back with some big names, Craig. I think we're ready to get some good sleepers here.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is a little bit tough because I don't know. I found some of the sleepers here. You kind of had to choose between either good form, but maybe not as perfect of candidates and candidates who are good candidates, but not necessarily in good form. Yeah,
so my whole theme for my sleepers this week is bet on talent. That's what I'm going with. So I'm going to bet on talent. There are a couple. I'm not going to say.
I prefer to bet on people who are not talented.
Okay. No, you can go form, or you can kind of go, does this guy have potential?
The pedigree.
But watch our Wednesday. Yeah, watch our Wednesday night show. There's a couple Monday qualifiers that I think are interesting, and obviously a new entry with Justin Suh that I think is interesting as well.
Yeah.
You just gained entry. But should we jump into our sleepers?
Yeah, let's do it.
I also should put on, I got my Bryson hat. I didn't wear him when I picked in our pick show for Bryson, but I got my Bryson hat on. I feel a good mojo for this. So my first one, I'm betting on talent. Carlos Ortiz, 7,400 on DraftKings. He's 38 there. On FanDuel, 8,900. He's 41st. So yeah, he is kind of out of form. His last 3 stroke play events, he's missed 3 cuts. But if we zoom out a little bit, that was only because of really 3 bad rounds. And yeah, if you have a bad round on Thursday or Friday, it's kind of a really bad round. It's hard to make a cut. But if we zoom out, this is since his win.
So we've zoomed out twice now?
We've zoomed out twice.
Okay.
We're zooming out to the past 33 rounds. This includes his bad form, but he has been positive strokes gained in 22 of 33. So it's not like he's playing that bad. He just has a couple of these outlier rounds at the wrong time, which makes his finishing look very, very, very poor. But I think if you look at the actual kind of how he's hitting the ball, it looks pretty fine. So let's look at that. Ranks past 6 months. This is Data Golf. He's 16th strokes gained total plus 1.32 compared to his DraftKings price of 38. That's great. 15 strokes gained off the tee, 0.54. I do want to kind of say there, he is 13th in driving distance all drives. We did talk about that a bit on our pick show, but he is 13th driving distance. So he can push it out there for a little wiry guy. And another thing I love the driving distance this week. I love the putting. He's 7th in strokes gained putting over the past 6 months at plus 0.7. So obviously the outlier there is his strokes gained approach. And his strokes gained approach is kind of a big outlier. I think it's kind of mine as a half stroke. So his approach has been very hot and cold. He'll be kind of +3, he'll be -3, but it's all over the place. If you can kind of tie that together, at least for the first 2 days, I think he's a very good shot to make the weekend. And if he can if he can kind of improve on that, I think he's one of these guys under 7,500 that can really push for a kind of a top 10. So what has he done at Quail Hollow? He's been 19th, 65, and missed cut. That is 2015, 2016, and 2019. Across those 10 rounds, he does have a positive strokes in here at plus 0.41 average per round.
Yeah, so it seems like Ortiz should be a good course fit here. I haven't quite done a deep dive into his rounds like you have recently to see, what's he doing wrong, essentially.
Yeah.
But he's definitely someone I'm going to consider quite heavily because I really like the price. I really like the value. He has played so well at some tournaments. I don't know if he's one of these people that I can go out there and put 30%, be heavy on. But I think there's a very good chance he makes my pool.
Yeah, that's fair.
My first one here, I'm going with the old guy that's in really good form. Matt Jones, 7,400 on DraftKings, 38th in pricing, 9,200 on FanDuel, 34th in pricing. Looking at his strokes gained totals from Data Golf. So you can see right here, you see it's all about the recent form with Matt Jones. Last 3 months, he's plus 1.35 around, 15th in the field. So obviously a great deal when we're getting at 35th to 40th in pricing essentially. 6 months, still high, over a stroke gained, 21st. But even you look at his long-term value, 12 months, 2 years, he's gaining over a half stroke. He's still 33rd, 36th in strokes gained total. So I like that. It means that essentially the basic value proposition is a good one there. Looking at his recent results, he's been great at making cuts. Single missed cut in his last 14 starts, and then you look more recently, he's been working his way higher up on leaderboard. And that's what we're seeing reflected in the stats. His last 6 starts, he's got 4 top 35s. His last 5 starts, he's got 2 top 10s. And obviously the win at the Honda Classic a few weeks ago. How's he doing it? Essentially, he's gaining strokes everywhere. He's positive off the tee approach, around the green and putting. The one concern maybe is that his putter is where he is. These are over the last 6 months, but the one concern maybe is that he has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting with his putter. So you have to wonder how sustainable that is. But essentially, I'm going to kind of assume that the form continues. He's really good value if the form does continue.
Yeah,
that's what I'm counting on.
Yeah, I like the fact that when you zoom out to 2 years, he's still beating value for his DraftKings rankings. I think exact same price as Carlo Ortiz, probably a little bit safer play. But I mean, he has popped for a win and 2 top 10s, so he has that upside too. But I just think Ortiz a little bit more volatile, Jones a little bit safer. That's how I kind of characterize it.
Yeah, and the ownership may follow accordingly. Ortiz might be it's tough because I think Ortiz is maybe a sexier name because he had the win in a big tournament and he kind of there's that upside potential to his game. Whereas Matt Jones, it's more like people who are going to be following the form will heap ownership onto him.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so my second bet on talent here is Erik van Rooyen, EVR. He's 7,200 on DraftKings, 46 on FanDuel. He's 8,500. He's 54th. So it's been kind of dicey for EVR recently, but I think can we call it turning a corner? So he's T9 at match play. He's T14 at Valero, T17 at Zurich, obviously with the team play there, and then miscut just last week at Valspar. So overall, I mean, pretty good. 3 top 20s in his last 4, 1 being a team event. Overall, that's trending in the right direction. But the one thing, so he's positive in every strokes gained category. I mean, around the green, approach, off the tee, the past 2 years. So he's very consistent ball striker. But the putting, will the real EVR stand up? Which one is it? In 2019, his strokes gained putting was positive 0.62. In 2020, his strokes gained putting was minus 0.05. 2019, there's a couple more rounds to count because there was no pandemic, and it was a lot more European Tour golf. 2020 kind of moved over more focusing on PGA Tour golf, less rounds. The putting hasn't been great, and that's kind of what we've seen kind of spill over into 2021 as well. So what is it? If we can get EVR in a good putting week, I think he has all the talent in the world to contend here. And that's what I want to say. We're looking at Quail Hollow, probably harder course, harder test, a little bit longer. He flashes. So he has no missed cuts at majors in 6 starts. He has 3 wins worldwide, and that I actually mean Europe, Africa, Asia, actually worldwide. And he's 3rd at the 2020 WGC Mexico, which is a pretty good course comp. What we again see from the guys from Data Golf. You need that distance. At the I'm gonna butcher the names
Chapultepec.
Yeah, but it is a good course comp for Quail Hollow. So. I don't know. I'm going to bet on talent here. It is his first start at Quail Hollow, so he doesn't have that history here. The other thing I did want to note, when you look at his kind of last 6 months, last year, he did withdraw from the Masters. It was a back injury. If he's past that back injury and we can kind of get the EVR of old that we saw do really, really, really well on the European Tour, this is just a great discount to get him for this tournament, I think. Yeah,
I'm struggling with EVR a bit. I totally agree on the talent. He's definitely a showdown play for me at points this week. The thing I don't know is how safe of a cut make he is, and so that's where I'm going to have to, as I'm building my pool, I think he's definitely got the upside. I have to kind of think about how much I want to give to him, but without a doubt he'll be in showdown lineups because he has so much potential to go low. And I think likely just because it seems like the cupboard's a little bare, I feel like, in the sleeper range this week. I think likely he'll be in my player pool, but definitely showdowns.
We talked about it in Zurich on Zurich Showdown plays that you need to avoid that kind of big blow up hole with EVR. And if that can come on Saturday or Sunday, I feel a lot better than it coming on Thursday and Friday and him missing the cut because of it.
Or just not at all. If we
I know, but it does seem to kind of creep its way in somehow. Yeah. I don't know. EVR, we got to avoid that.
Yeah. And maybe that's how he scores. Maybe it's just an aggressiveness thing that is the same key to his success is his Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Not like that he has Achilles problems, I mean, but. Okay, my next one, Sebastián Muñoz. This might be a little bit more down the road you're going, where it's talent over form. 7,300 on DraftKings, 42nd there. 8,600 on FanDuel, 50th there. So you look at his 3 months, 6 months strokes gained total. 54th, 64th, not what we're hoping to see in terms of value at that price, but we look at 12 months and 2 years, all of a sudden it's 39th, 28th. The long-term value is good. Looking at recent results, he's made 6 of his last 8 cuts. He has a missed cut at RBC, I believe, and the Players. Both were on the number. So, I give a little bit less of a knock for people missing the cut on the number. It's a single stroke over the course of 36 holes. It easily could be 8 straight make cuts. So I like that, while the strokes gained totals might not be awesome right now, it seems like he might be coming back into some form. He did have a top 10 at the Valero. So, we did see some really good golf from Muñoz last year. Maybe we're seeing him starting to come into form. For me, though, it's a course fit over course history. He's got 2 starts here. Nothing to write home about. Single missed cut, single made cut, 38th, I believe, when he made the cut. But the course fit. So Muñoz, I actually should say for Jones is 35th in driver distance. So this is the one thing that I'm looking, we mentioned in our picks show. I don't care, it's nice if people are top 10 in driver distance, but it's more like, I feel like I kind of want them to at least be above average in driver distance. So
threshold, yeah.
So Jones is 35th so far in the season. Muñoz, we're looking at 87th so far in this season, but he was 43rd last year in terms of driver distance. So I'm happy. I think he gets over the threshold in terms of having the sufficient distance. But he definitely is a course fit. He is a positive. If you look at Data Golf's course fit guide, you add strokes to him for course fit. So I like that over his course history. I think he is someone who, as soon as he gets a few good results here again, DFS ownership is going to heap on to him. He is a bit of a DFS darling. And so this is one that if you're going to get on, I think you have to be a little bit ahead of the curve. And so that's what I'm planning to do this week.
Yeah, I think his strokes gained totals is actually quite interesting. I mean, you kind of see that valley there around 6 months, and it does look like it is kind of improving when you kind of look at just the shorter range of 3 months. Maybe that's more appropriate than as his 12 months. The 6 of 8 made cuts recently. I actually wouldn't have guessed that. I thought he's been in more of a slump than that kind of shows. So
yeah, so I think it's because if you want to overread these things, I think it's because he's starting to come out of the slump. So it's sort of, you have the history of like, man, he's played poorly of recent, and he has, but I think that is, past the 3 months into the 6 month range that we did see that poorer play.
And I think he took Jon Rahm to 18 holes in his match play on the first day there.
And that guy's pretty good, I hear.
That guy's pretty good. That guy's pretty good.
Okay, your last one.
My third sleeper. Bet on talent. I got to include Cameron Davis here. So 7,100 on DraftKings. He's 51st. Pretty low price, I feel like, for him. On FanDuel, he's a little bit higher. 8,800. He's 44th. If you've watched this show for a while, I kind of gush on this guy. Seems to have all the talent in the world, but uninspiring recent form, I would call it. Kind of miscut, T25, T69, T33. The miscut coming recently.
Okay, so that's from most recent is the miscut through.
Yeah. So coming off a miscut, maybe that means he's a little bit more fresh. I don't know. I'm trying to get an optimist spin on it here. But like you said, it's kind of that course fit, but it's also DFS points. We see these guys. I mean, even if you think of, a star like Tony Finau, he can finish 20th, but he can be 8th in DFS points because, he collects a couple eagles on the way. He gets a little bit more birdies, but maybe a couple more bogeys.
I'm just really surprised wearing the Bryson hat and picking Bryson this week that you didn't go for the Bryson, but...
It was the low-hanging fruit. I don't know. It's early in the morning. I'm still getting my coffee into my veins. I didn't get that one.
Gotcha.
But okay, 12th driving distance. So like you said, there's that threshold, but then there's that kind of elite distance, and he has that elite distance to, get those reachable par fours, get to those.
And I would say, maybe just hijack it a bit here, but even beyond just elite distance, I'd say he's almost like borderline elite ball striking across the board.
Yeah, exactly. And then 25th on the PGA Tour. So these are ranks in the entire PGA Tour for the entire PGA Tour season. He's 25th in birdie or better percentage at about 25%. His bogey avoidance, though, isn't good. So like I said, he'll go birdie, bogey, but that does score more points than getting all pars across the board. He just needs to get to the weekend to get those points. Zooming out at his strokes gained total over the past 6 months, a good kind of sample size to see how does he rate to his DraftKings price. He does rank 49th in strokes gained total. So he is even a value looking at that. And I would say he hasn't been playing great. Putter hasn't been great. And that includes all that. So he's still even a value considering all that. He does have one start here. It was in 2019. Again, a little while ago. I think he's a better player than he was in 2019. He did miss the cut by 3. So I'm not too worried about that. To me, Cameron Davis has this talent, elite ball striker. I feel like this is the course. If I'm loading up on guys like Bryson, like Victor Hovland, he's at kind of a good pairing at the low 7,000s. It kind of reminds me of these guys like Grillo or, these guys that have been charging lately, a Homa even with the ball striking, We'll look back in a few months and be like, I can't believe Cameron Davis was so cheap at 7,100 at Quail Hollow.
Yeah, or maybe a Sam Burns is one we've kind of lumped him in.
Sam Burns, yeah.
But maybe just to qualify what I was saying in terms of elite ball striking, maybe more he has elite ball striking potential, because I think the real issue, we see it from him at times, but I think the real issue is just consistency. So it's a matter of can we see that elite ball striking week in, week out, and then can he combine that with converting it into scoring, and that's really, I think, the missing piece in the puzzle, because he has all the talent. So I in terms of play this week, I don't know for sure whether I like the price, and it is I think it's a course where you do need to look at these guys who are the ball strikers and who have the distance. So I think likely he'll make it in, but as always, tune in Wednesday to find out. Without a doubt, if not, he'll be in my showdown pool. My last one here, I'm going on a different tack than these young ball strikers. I'm going with Charl Schwartzel, and hear me out here, because I think I'm going to make a decent case. 7,200 on DraftKings, he's 46th in pricing, 9,000 on FanDuel, 38th in pricing. So those prices may seem a little bit steep when we're looking at his strokes gained totals of recent. 3 months he's actually losing strokes. He's minus 0.36, 92nd, and then 6-12, 2 years. It does start to creep up the further back you look at the sample size.
Sure.
And none of them still you're thinking that's that great of value for Schwartzel. Now, it actually surprises me a bit that his last 3 months have been minus 0.36. I think that is because of until the last 4 tournaments, and so this, I should say, these are the 4 stroke play regular events. This is not including, so I'm not counting his tied for second with Louis Oosthuizen at the Zurich, which at the time I was really attributing to Louis Oosthuizen just being the stud that he is. But I think Schwartzel, he did his part. He carried his weight on the team.
Yeah. There's no way he's dead weight. You need to be a good teammate to get that far, that deep. Same with Mark.
You can't hide whether it's you're looking at. The best ball you can hide a little bit more maybe if you have a partner who's super hot, but alt shot you just can't hide. But anyways, so cherry picking through some of his results here, he's got 4 straight made cuts, 2 straight top 26s, and that would be 3 if we included the second place at the Zurich. But so looking back a little further, I think you had mentioned the WGC Mexico course, as I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but as a good course comp. I think Farmers. I think Torrey Pines is also a decent course comp here. He was tied for 18th there, didn't go in with great form at the time, and then also tied for 25th, tied for 26th at the 2 Masters appearances. Now, I know that the Masters is a beast unto itself, and experience there, history there matters so much, which obviously he has, but I also think it is one that, potentially rewards some of the same things you need to do at Quail Hollow. So I just think it's interesting that the courses where you do need to have a drive, essentially that almost really test all aspects of your game, including distance and ball striking and putting and really everything. But last time he was at Quail Hollow, he was 9th, so that's encouraging to me. In terms of does he have the requisite distance, he's 51st in driving distance on the season, so I think he is. But really, to me, I think that I'm gonna start to buy into the long-term uptick on Charl Schwartzel. If I had to ask you how old Schwartzel is, what would be your guess?
43.
He's 36 years old.
He's 36
years old. Yeah. So he's 36 years old. He was in the top 100 golfers in the world from when he was 21 years old until 34 years old. So 2019, he had a wrist injury and he fell out for the first time. So I thought, I was on the same page as you. I thought for sure he was over 40, but I think it's just because he's been around forever. So I think that we are going to see him work his way back up into, top 100 in the world. Whether we see him reach the levels that he was at previously, I don't know. Sure. But I think he's going to be relevant again. So if we are buying into, a long-term uptick, then in the course of that uptick, we're going to get some results from him. So this seems to me like the type of tournament that we might get that we might see. He doesn't have a top 10 in a while, but it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it has to happen sooner than later. So essentially, I'm buying the long-term uptick, and to do that, I need to buy some results along the way.
I feel like if I don't cut you off at some point, you're just going to keep talking about the.
Let me tell you about 2001 2006 when he first broke up.
I got it. Half the show is now Schwartzel talk. I don't know what happened there. It kind of, you just kept going and going. It was interesting. I was captivated. I can't believe he's that young. I don't know. I mean, me and him aren't doing ourselves any favors with our hat selections, I think. But I bought into the South African team for the Zurich Classic. I thought Schwartzel wasn't. People kind of just disregarded him as kind of past, and I don't think that's true. I think he's this guy that can pop and will kind of try to work himself back a little bit, and he clearly is a little bit on the upswing. But I think that's kind of reflected in the price at 7,200, 46 on DraftKings. If I can get a big swing in Australian for 7,100, it's going to be hard to kind of get Schwartzel at 72. So I don't know if he's going to make my player pool, but I agree with kind of the argument you're making.
Well, and it would not have, we're doing this the morning of Tuesday, which normally we get this out on Monday, and he probably wouldn't have been my pick here if we had done it on our normal Monday slot. But last night I was scrolling through, like looking at building some lines, and I'm like, yeah, man, Schwartzel's played decent of late. Like I should look a little more into this. And so, it's one that I required a little more thought and a little more case making, but I think there is a case to be made there.
I like it. Well, we've kind of teased it. Our live DFS show Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Come join us, and we'll use our DFS model, which is below. The link is below, to go through the entire lineups, talk about our plays, talk about how much we're kind of assigning to all these guys with our percentages. So make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the thumbs up, ring the bell so you don't miss that show. But before you go, call your shot under 7,500 on DraftKings. Let us know who your favorite play is in the comments. Best play, we'll give you a shout out the following week. But yeah, plant your flag.
Yeah.
Tell us
last week, if you'd have been on Vaughn Taylor, you could have had your shout out, but you need to comment it below.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck at this week, everyone.
Yep. See you next time. Good luck, guys.